So one of the things we like to do here is to make connections. As a network of funders, we know that the people who come and share their stories with us, they want to do more work. And while there's a tactful balance between not pitching hard, but also presenting your work to this group, we understand that there are transactions that happen, and we really appreciate that. We don't have a kind of a prim notion that you may not tell us what you want to do next. We want to know what you want to do next. And so we were very fortunate to have Thomas Allen Harris with us the last time we were in this room a few years back to share with us his work from Through a Lens Darkly and the Digital Diaspora program that he was working on at that time. And subsequent to that, he did receive support for his work going forward, and it was from the investment in Digital Diaspora Family Reunion that has resulted in the launch of a new series for public television entitled Family Pictures USA. And Thomas is going to rejoin us here today for a few minutes to share about his next big project.
Good morning, everyone. So first of all, I'd like to thank. I want to say that it was wonderful to be here this morning, and I particularly really appreciated the last conversation and all the conversations. I want to thank Vince and Media Impact Funders for inviting us back and allowing us to announce that we are launching a major new television series called Family Pictures USA, which will transform communities and families by connecting them with stuff they already own, their family photographic albums, the stories that are residing in them. This project comes out of support from the Fledgling Fund, CPB, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, the Rockefeller Foundation, and the Wyncote Foundation. The series is a culmination of all these investments and the strategy I've been building for the last 25 years of making deeply personal films, including Through a Lens Darkly, Black Photographers, and the Emergence of a People. And the winner of the NAACP Image Award, the Best Documentary, nominated also for Emmy and a Peabody 60. The doc started out as a formal documentary about African American photographers, but it led me to find or rediscover my grandfather's archive, this tremendous archive of over 10,000 color slides, hours and hours of Super 8 material that changed not only the way I saw my grandfather's work, but also changed the narrative of the film. So the film became more about how African Americans are viewed within the national family album. If we had a national family album, what would African Americans look like? And I realized that my grandfather may not have been able to pass down a lot of financial inheritance to me, but he passed down something just as great. He passed down a 60-year archive of images, stories, films, etc. I realized that other people had this, and I wanted to connect them with what they have. And so Digital Diaspora Family Reunion has, over the last 10 years, taken a life of its own. It was a community engagement project that we started as we were making the film. It's traveled to over 50 cities, collected over 30,000 images, and interviewed over 2,500 people about their family photographic albums, generating 150 video modules, many of which are on YouTube. We've already had 70 million impressions through radio, television, newspaper, and social media. And now it's going to be a major television series, bringing people together through the simple and universal thing, such as the family photo album. In some ways, it's the Moth meets Antiques Roadshow. But using the family photographic album. So we're going to show the trailer now, the 10-minute trailer, which is a look and feel trailer that we created out of Family Pictures, out of Digital Diaspora, and I'll talk about Family Pictures later. Family Pictures USA is a show about our stories. Discovering hidden connections to history and to one another. I grew up in a family of photographers, and every photograph had a story about the lives of people that I didn't know but who were connected to me, and it inspired me creatively and changed the way I saw the world. It's one of the reasons I spent the last 10 years traveling around the country encouraging people to see the value in their own family photographs. And now, it will be a TV show. Hi, I'm Thomas Allen Harris, and we're here in Harlem, New York, at the Sugar Hill Children's Museum of Art and Storytelling. Come on. I'll be your guide to a new America that is revealed when people open their albums and their hearts. This project is about redefining and creating a new purpose for the family album, one that could bring us together despite our differences.
I have been thinking about many albums that I have that my grandmother put together in the early 1900s. Albums frame families, what's in them and what's left out.
This picture was just in the kitchen, and it says H.H. Flake's farm on it, and our last name is Flake, and so I knew, well, these are my relatives, and it turns out these are my great-great-grandparents, perhaps. And what's funny is I grew up in Mississippi, and I always thought, though, that since we had come from California, we weren't Southern, really. The history of slavery and civil rights, they weren't personal stories. And when I saw this photograph of my ancestors' potato farm in Florida and realized that it's also a photograph of black workers, farm workers behind them, my family never talked about it. When I asked about it, turns out that these relatives were Spanish indentured servants who had come to Florida, so very humble beginnings. If you were white, maybe you didn't totally claim your Spanish or Hispanic heritage as an effort to distance yourself from another kind of working class.
These are some of my mother's relatives. They could have passed for white, and we have quite a few of them. We have one cousin called, her name is Brunette. That was her real name because her hair was blonde, and they called her Brunette. My mom, when we were kids, people thought she was our teacher because her children were all obviously black, and so most people did not know my mom was black. And she never tried to pass. She has lots of relatives that tried to pass, but she never tried to pass.
It's a powerful photograph for me. It situated me in the South, situated my family in the South, and situated my life into these race relations and what it is to be an American and how to connect to the past.
My grandmother told the story of a girl that she had come to take care of my father, who was from an orphanage, and her name was Hattie. This is a picture of her with my father when he looks to be about 6 years old. And this is a picture of Hattie with my grandmother and my grandfather. My grandmother's name was Harriet, and she was called Hat. Hattie's name was Harriet. She was called Hattie. They called her Black Hattie. That's what this says underneath here. She lived with them for many years. And when I was a teenager, these are two of my younger siblings, Hattie would often appear at our house in Litchfield, Connecticut. My grandmother would call and say to my mother, Hattie's coming, and my mother would make sandwiches and iced tea and lemonade and run around. It was a big flurry of excitement and greeting and talking. And she would visit. And growing up in Litchfield, Connecticut, there were no black people. I had not met black people. This was my experience with black people, was Hattie's appearance regularly on our porch.
When you pull out those photographs and you start to tell stories that have only been told within the family, and you see the resonance of those with other people, then suddenly it's larger than just any single individual or in any singular experience that individuals might have.
So this is my grandfather, my father's father. He's praying every morning. He gets up at 5 a.m. And this man is 90 plus, by the way. He prays and he reflects. And I think, then I took it for granted. And here I feel like I can't take this for granted because this is the origins of my origin.
When we do the interviews with people and we ask them to put on white gloves before they handle their images, it forced me to think, white gloves, that means the thing I'm handling is precious. It has value. And so that moment is a kind of a shift.
This is my sister Trisha and myself when I was, I believe, 4. She was so good to me when I was young. These pictures made me feel like a little emotional because this represents a part of my life which is truly been like a huge transition from the Philippines to America.
This was sitting on my mantelpiece, and people came over and they were like, "Why is that guy with Louis Armstrong?" Well, that guy is my father, and he was shooting Louis for a photo spread for Playboy magazine. All his staff photographers, they're all wearing like silk pajamas, doing a spoof on Hugh Hefner. I have it on my desk to remind me that my father was an artist, and he did some really ballsy things.
Our goal has been to use photography as a way of creating community. So that being said, this is a community exercise. So would you turn to your neighbor and just say hello, introduce yourself?
When you're an immigrant in a country and you're always trying to find family, and a family member in an audience at an event says, "I'm your family," when we're talking about family.
It's magical.
Barrett, do you know Delphine?
I heard your name. I heard Macaulay.
And then she piped up,
Yes! I'm like, wait, Macaulay, if she's a photographer, then she's my cousin. My cousin, We've never even met each other.
We've never met each other.
First time meeting each other.
I was completely flustered. I didn't even know what I was talking about at that point. This is magical. This is necessary work for bringing our global family together.
Absolutely.
Not sure we did. Not sure we did.
Oh, tell Papa go Tinky.
I think that what was the most surprising for me, I think that there is a tremendous amount of emotional connection with taking that picture out and telling that story.
That's my brother Sajam in the middle. There's actually a year before he passed away. And yeah, my brother died the next year, and my grandmother, and so all the photos from. Actually, I didn't even think about why those pictures are important to me. I never even thought about it. But that is still, oh my God.
The real reason why I decided to do this project is because my mom was in surgery a few days ago, and these moments are so precious.
I think that we've always been a little bit surprised that people are going to come out with their photographs and want to talk about them. They're perfect strangers to themselves and to each other, and yet they're more than willing, absolutely overwhelmingly willing, to get up in front of a group of people and talk about, this is my grandparents, or this is my father, or this is what we did when I was 6 years old. What we have stumbled upon is the hunger that audiences have to have a real human connection with each other.
Thank you. So we're about to shoot the pilot episode for Family Pictures USA in Detroit with initial funding from the Ford Foundation, and we're working with bringing various communities together, working with partners including the Detroit Historical Museum, the Detroit Institute for the Arts, the Native American Health and Family Services, the Jewish Historical Society, the Church of the Messiah, the Arab-American Museum, and 10 other partners, including the Detroit Free Press. And there's an article I could share with people. They did an amazing, they're our media partner. We're also working with the Detroit Public Television to unfold a people's history of the city. So the show will be composed of community photo sharing events, deep dives where we look at the city through people's family photographic albums and their narratives, and it's also how we define family. As an out gay man, I know I define family as the families we choose. It's also we're also bringing we're bringing the whole city together at for a grand finale at the epicenter of the 1967 riots. This is the 50th year of the riots, so we're bringing everyone together to reclaim that space with their family photographs. The pilot will serve as a template for a replicable model for locally produced and told national television series. We are excited by the dialogue with partners and stations in Alabama, Nashville, Lubbock, Texas, Hawaii, Idaho, San Francisco, Oregon, Nebraska, Richmond, Virginia, and others. Along the way, we'd like to help public television, public media reinvent itself by leveraging ongoing relationships, building new ones, and for all of us to tell better stories. I was pleasantly surprised by the vigor with which DPTV helped us produce and present the show. So I'm going to wrap up because I know we have lunch. I just want to say, like any independent production, we're going to make this happen, but we could really use more support. If this project resonates with you, we'd love your support. And you can get involved by introducing us to funders who will view Family Pictures USA as a good strategic fit for their portfolio. And of course, please spread the word. We're also developing sponsorship and private investment, sponsorship. And so I'd love to exchange cards if you have recommendations as well. I'll be leaving early today to shoot in Detroit. We begin our shooting tomorrow morning, but I'll be here for lunch, and I'd love to meet any of you and engage with you more. Thank you so much again.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Thomas, for coming here for this special occasion. We know that it was a struggle just to fit it into your production schedule, so thank you for that, for sharing the clip that you did with it. It's very powerful. I'm sure you all experienced it that way too. If you ever have a chance to experience one of the family reunion events in person, some of us, I know several of us, were together with Thomas at the Motion Picture Academy last fall. It's a really powerful experience to have in person too. So thanks for sharing it with the world through public television.